The Hollowing, Chapter 7, Sally's Hope. Hollowing Town surged with an uneasy ebb and flow. The mix of chaos and secrecy that plagued the town made it hard to know how to sabotage Jack's plan. She wanted desperately to warn the Asir to the north, but she was no longer able to cross over to another realm. She had to find a way without raising suspicion, but everyone and everything seemed suspicious now. Anyone she tried to approach would just turn a cold shoulder, too afraid of Jack's wrath to be seen with her. Jack's jealousy had caused him to destroy Oogie and his entire kingdom. What might he do to a common citizen? She once made the mistake of trying to ask Dr. Kelstein about what was going on. His eyes almost twinkled at this new development with his favorite experiment. That was the time he removed the top of her head and experimented with different parts of her brain while asking her questions, a torment that would likely always haunt her. In the end, she learned nothing of what was happening with Jack's plan. She only ever saw Jack when she was strapped to a table in the lab, when he would occasionally peer through the bars of a cage Kelstein had locked her in, while giving Jack a report of his latest findings. Eventually, Sally realized that her only hope to discover his plan would be for her to sneak into the castle and spy on Jack herself. She feared what would happen if she were caught, but realized that between Finn Kelstein's lab and the inevitability of her marriage with Jack, the worst was going to find her anyway. Her only way out was through. During her time in Finn's lab, when he'd leave her unattended and forget to lock her in, she would experiment with what she could find. There were bottles and vials she'd never seen before, but when she read the labels or smelled their contents, memories not her own would fill her mind from places she'd never seen. The witches they'd used to make Sally's new body were powerful. They had to be, for Finn to be able to carry their corpses back across the veil in good enough condition to be used for his unnatural purposes. When their bodies were charged with her essence, they combined to make something new and beautiful. No matter what form Sally took, she was always beautiful. Sally realized that she could mix precise potions, summon plants to grow, and had a constant nagging in her fingertips to sew. She'd never done any of this before the change, but now it was second nature to her. She experimented with the rough cloth that Oogie had finally been sealed in. It was a curious design, created to ensnare. It was hard to work with, but she found that she could make little dolls, fill them with vines, and infuse them with a potion that would allow them to grow within the sackcloth bodies. But vines needed room to grow, or they'll smother and die. She could animate her dolls in this way for a short time, but they would eventually suffocate and fall back to the ground, lifeless and devoid of magic.